Detail. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, this morning welcomed the members of the Gambia Women's Federation, an umbrella organization of women groups and associations engaged in businesses and other occupations. Women's empowerment and improving business activities dominated the agenda at the almost 2-hour-long engagement, which sought to put on the spotlight the important role of women in national development. The President reassured the women business leaders of his government's support and commitment to their welfare. Well, we hope to bring you that report in the 10 p.m. news bulletin. And now, the Gambia Press Union and its partners have joined the rest of the world to commemorate World Press Freedom Day, and the event began with a march past and ended with the presentation of a position paper to the Minister of Information. Samuel Ba has more in this report.
Members of the media fraternity are commemorating World Press Freedom Day in the Gambia. This historic commemoration would not have been possible some 6 months ago, but today the event marks a complete departure from the past.
It is the first time since the downfall of the Jammeh regime that World Press Freedom Day is being commemorated in the Gambia. And it is also significant in that the atmosphere of freedom to express themselves has dominated the scene since the December 1st, 2016.
World Press Freedom Day is a moment of joy, is a moment of stock-taking. It is a moment to reassess and redraw the parameters for the effective, independent, and vibrant working of the journalist.
World Press Freedom Day is meant to remind and encourage governments of their commitment to press freedom.
The press at the moment in the Gambia is nursing wounds of the past. So that being the case, really, we have to make new demands. That our demand in the past was, let's free somebody in prison, justice for so-and-so, closure of media houses. Still those things can be echoed. But the new demand of the day is the repealing of laws, the criminalizing of certain laws too, and also, to get rid of certain laws in our, Gambian constitution.
This is the first openly observed World Press Freedom Day in 22 years, bringing experts in the trade in what is essentially a show of unity and togetherness.
This is the new Gambia, and you can tell by yourself, journalists who were not associating themselves with the Gambia Press Union for fear of, being harassed or intimidated have come out in their numbers to be part of this, and we are very delighted.
We are hoping, as Gambian journalists, as the Gambia Press Union, and all stakeholders in the media, we are hoping that the goodwill that the Barrow administration have shown towards the media be as soon as possible transformed or translated into legislative action.
Celebrations began with a march past from the traffic lights through Kairaba Avenue, MDI Road, then to GRTS main building. The media fraternity had an important message contained in a petition to deliver to government through the Honorable Minister of Information and Communications.
This is a very enthusiastic group. They are guided not by the fears of the past, but by the hopes and the promises that your government has imbued in them. That once again, Gambia will be that shining light in terms of democracy. So I take this opportunity again to thank you for receiving us, and then thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister assured the celebrants of a level playing field for the media.
This demand you've given us, and we will address them, no doubt. I can assure you, as far as our capacity and ability is concerned. And well, I heard your demands, the press freedom now. I can assure you that you have already got the press freedom that you are demanding for. As far as this government is concerned, we can assure you that we will, give you all the freedom that you need to do your work. We're going to level the playing field so that everybody, all the stakeholders are going to do their work without any hindrance whatsoever. We are definitely going to operate completely from what used to be in this in the past.
Celebrations continue with a lineup of other activities. Samuel Bah, GRTS.
Now, those are some reassuring words indeed. Now to this. Press freedom suffered significantly under the former government. For more than 2 decades, journalists were targeted by state security agents, and many were arrested, tortured, and in most worst cases, killed. Well, one of the names on that list is former Daily Observer reporter, Chief Ebrima Manneh. Famara Kanye visited his family in Lameng, and this is the story.
The family of journalist Chief Ebrima Manneh has been trying to establish the truth about his disappearance since he was arrested in July 2006, allegedly by agents of the then National Intelligence Agency. For more than 10 years now, several attempts by the family and other concerned persons to locate him, Chief Manneh is nowhere to be seen. As a result, the family has already given up hope of ever seeing their loved one alive again.
When
I see people fighting for my son's case to be brought before justice, I feel okay. I really lost a great son.
Some of his close relatives could not talk about Chief Manneh's disappearance and its impact on them without first shedding tears. His mother, Sula Sise, said, since the incident, her life has never been the same.
Ebrima was the breadwinner of the family. I have the faith that whatever happened to him was destined by God. I have really suffered greatly. Sometimes I can't even sleep at night.
Chief Manneh's mother said the only assistance they received for the upkeep of the family was a one-off donation from the Daily Observer, the local newspaper Mr. Manneh was working for at the time of his disappearance. Even some extended family members had to distance themselves away from the family for fear of being harassed by agents of the former regime.
We want the government to do whatever they can do to help us, and whoever is responsible for my brother's mission to pay the price.
The day he's leaving, he was in our house in the morning, and then we eat breakfast together, and then he was like, he's going to Ghana for a course, and then he received a call in our presence. Like he said, oh, I received a very urgent call. My boss said I have to go and answer to him before I travel to Ghana. So then he even canceled to go with one of my friends, Lamin, for lunch. And then there he leave and then go to the office in Bakau. From there we never see him again.
Chief is widely remembered by many journalists in the Gambia. Omar Wali and Beka Njai both work at the Daily Observer. They believe Chief Manneh will forever be remembered.
He put on a story on Observer, and which was never printed, but he was reported and he was arrested by the defunct National Intelligence Agency, that is the NIA. So after his arrest, he was taken to the NIA, but 11 years on, his whereabouts is still unknown. According to the family and the Gambia Press Union, they have searched the prisons and all the detention centers in the country, but no joy with regards to his arrest.
He got arrested 2 years before I joined Observer. And then obviously, when I joined Observer, and even before I joined Observer, I do hear his name. And of course, I do see his byline. So he is somebody who was known to be very hardworking, a state house correspondent for that matter for Observer. And when we came to Observer, and then he was remembered vividly among colleagues because of his tenacity, his courage, his passion for the work.
Though there is no conclusive evidence or information about Chief Manneh's disappearance, the family believes he was among the long list of Gambians who were allegedly unlawfully arrested, detained or killed for no good reason. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Famara Kanye.
Chief Manneh's case is one in a long list of brutal attacks on journalists during the Jammeh era. 2 years earlier, prominent journalist and co-publisher of the Point newspaper, Deyda Hydara, was killed by people suspected to be state security agents. Our Ebrima spoke to the late journalist's family and former colleagues.
I'm standing in front of the offices of the Point newspaper, the newspaper whose co-founder lost his life in exercise of the journalism profession.
In commemoration of World Press Freedom Day, Pap Sen, the co-publisher of the Point newspaper, remembers the brutal killing of veteran journalist Deyda Hydara in a drive-by shooting in December 2004.
He was my childhood friend. We did many things together. We started with Radio Seat in 1970. Then 82 to 85, we had a paper called Senegambia Sun. It was patronized by the Senegalese government, Senegambia Sun. Then 1991, I, Deyda Hydara, and late Babukar Gay decided to launch a paper, a tabloid paper, to fill the vacuum, because it was rare at that time to get a tabloid paper in the Gambia.
Photos of the fallen hero are still on display in the various offices of the Point newspaper. This is the office where Deyda used to edit the news reports some 13 years ago. Usman Kagbo represents the new generation of journalists who followed the footsteps of the veteran journalists. Kagbo remembers the days he spent with the late Hydara.
Today is a great day for us journalists as well, generally, and especially for my former boss, the late Deyda Hydara. I learned a lot from him. So today, being a World Press Freedom Day, and we are remembering him, is a great occasion.
Who killed Deyda Hydara is a common question on daily editions of The Point, and will continue to be until the answer is provided, Kagbo said.
We all know what transpired in the last 2 years, the injustice that took place in this country, the arrest of journalists, the disappearance of journalists, the killing of journalists. Of course, he is one of them. At this point in time, the only thing that can remedy, that can give people a peace of mind, is if there is justice. And therefore, we want justice to take its course.
We hope with the new government they will take it, the matter seriously, to investigate properly about the cause of the death of Hydara, because Hydara was among the great mentors of press freedom, and in the media also he was an eminent personality. He has contributed a lot for the development of the press.
Deyda Hydara was murdered and in cold blood, doing his job. So I think there should be justice for that. Whether he been a journalist or some other profession, he needs justice.
Digging deep into the Point's archives, Deyda's famous editorial, "Good Morning, Mr. President," was discovered. The column touched on various topical issues and served as a routine reminder to the President. Baba Hydara is the eldest son of the former co-publisher of the Point newspaper.
There should be an investigation, yeah. But now, with the, as you know, other victims' families, we are together and we created a sort of association on having a sort of investigation which the government are trying to implement, which is the Truth and Reconciliation.
Speaking to GRTS at his house in Kerserim, Baba showed me different awards and photos of Deyda, from his days at Radio Sheet in the 80s to his last days at the Point newspaper.
All these awards prove how he was really doing his job well, because also most of the awards were before, the incident happened. Some of them also are after, but, like that picture of Radio Seat, it was taken like in the 70s, 60s, where he started. He started as just a DJ. He ended up being a managing director of Radio Seat, and which goes on and on, how determined, dedicated to his job, he was at an early age, as you can see.
The Gambia Press Union is not left behind in the fight for truth and justice in the brutal murder of Deyda Hydara.
There must be justice in Deyda's case. I mean, Deyda was a doyen of the media, as we all know, who contributed a lot, even contributing to the setting aside of this day.
Deyda Hydara was among journalists and human rights activists, honored with the memorial monument at the Second World War Memorial, built at Normandy, France, in 2006. Baba, his mother and sister Nelly attended the unveiling of the monument. It has been more than a decade since the demise of the veteran journalist, and despite numerous calls for truth and justice, not much has been achieved in bringing the perpetrators to book. Ebrima, GRTS News.
They would forever be remembered. And now to other news. The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Manneh Kinte, is on a nationwide tour. This is the Army Chief's first tour to various military installations following his reappointment as Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces. Modu Bajan spoke to him about the trip. Let's take a listen.
The Army Chief, who is accompanied by senior military officials, also mentioned civil-military relations as a key component of his team's tour.
Since taking over command of the armed forces in February, I intended to visit our troops around the country. This is important because at some point we have to know how our troops live, we have to know how they work, we have to know about their concerns, and also discuss with them on the plans of the armed forces. But again, the tour will give us the opportunity to interact with the civil authorities as well, the regional governors, civil servants, the Gambian people in general will give us the opportunity to be able to interact with them and know what are their challenges, what their security concerns are, and what do they expect of the Gambia Armed Forces.
How important is this relationship to the Gambia Armed Forces and other security institutions in the country?
Yeah. Well, the civil-military relationship is very, very significant because the civilian needs to know the rules of the armed forces. Likewise, the armed forces need to know, what is required of the civilians. Like in any government contractual arrangement is, a contract between a social contract, they call it, between the government and the governed. We are part of the government. We have a role to play, and the public is paying us, to deliver a service. And as a result of that, it is important, for us to remind ourselves, what are our roles and responsibilities under, the Constitution, and at the same time, what, are the expectations of the Gambian people.
And now, viewers, to a media release, the Independent Electoral Commission will conduct by-elections to fill 6 vacant seats in 3 area councils on Wednesday, 24th May 2017. A media release from Election House says nomination of candidates will be held on Wednesday, 10th May at the IEC offices in Kanifing, Brikama and Janjambure from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Campaign will commence on the 13th and end on the 22nd of May 2017. Consequently, nomination forms will be issued out to respective candidates from 3rd May 2017. These forms, the release dates, are free of charge and can be collected from the Kanifing, Brikama and Janjambure regional offices. The release ends. Now, the scientific officer at the Food Security and Quality Authority has confirmed that the rumors circulating regarding the presence of plastic rice in the market is false. Abdul Hakim Jawara was speaking to GRT's Aminata Sanyang. Let's take a listen.
We have rumors circulating that we have plastic rice in the country. How authentic is that information?
First of all, I want to state that we are the Food Safety and Quality Authority of the Gambia, and we are the sole competent body responsible for the safety of food and animal feed in the Gambia. Now, any food that comes into the Gambia has to go through a series of barriers before it's let in. First of all, it must have a certificate, precisely the SPS certificate, That is a sanitary and phytosanitary certificate or a plant protection certificate. Then after that, it should be certified by a food safety authority or an accredited laboratory from the country of origin. Let's say the rice is coming from China. Now, before it's like we have the food safety authority here of the Gambia, we have another body in China similar to ours, and they'll make sure that everything that's produced and being exported from China is of good quality. So if they come to the Gambia without that certificate, we don't allow them in. And we also have what we call the InfoSan Rapid Alert System. It's a combination of 186 countries, each of them with their food safety networks. So if any contaminated product is being put into the market, we will be notified before it reaches the Gambia, and we will be waiting for it at the port of entry. That is the Banjul Seaport. So we did our investigations, and we came up with the result that the specific brands of rice being said to be plastic are actually not plastic. We did our lab test, and we found out that they are not plastic, they are rice. And there's one particular brand that people are saying that forms a ball after it's been cooked. That's because it has a high starch content and high pectin content. That's the reason for that. And a simple test that people can do at home to put their minds at ease that there's no plastic rice in the market is, first of all, they can pound it into a powder, put it in water, and if it sinks, it's rice. And if it floats, it's plastic. Another one is they can put it in a hot frying pan without oil, just the rice in a hot frying pan. If it's plastic, it's supposed to melt. Okay. And another thing they can do is they can cook it and leave it out in room temperature. Plastic is not biodegradable. So if you cook it and leave it out in room temperature, you can leave it there for like 6 months. It will not get spoiled or forever. But if it's rice, like after a couple of days, it will turn bad. The same rumor has been circulating since 2012. Last year in Nigeria, they confiscated 2.5 tons of rice, but then they had to come back and say it was a mistake, it's not plastic. The Food and Drug Authority of Ghana came out the same year, December 2016, to give out information saying that the plastic rice that people are saying is circulating in Ghana was another hoax. It is not true. We had the same case in countries like Indonesia, Jamaica, various countries. As I said before, we have the InfoSan. It's a network of food safety authorities. It's 186 countries, and we will be alerted if there's plastic rice being circulated.
Now, those are some reassuring statements. With that, viewers, we'll take a break. When we return, we take a look at 8 and now to sports. The South African women's cricket team has been dealt with a blow after their influential captain, Dan Ivan Nekrek, has been ruled out for 6 weeks with injury. The team plays Zimbabwe, Ireland and powerhouse India in a quadrangle tournament over the next 2 weeks ahead of the Cricket World Cup in England next month. CGTN CST Plus has more in this report.
The Protea women are back in training just a few weeks after securing qualification to the World Cup, and now turn their attention to a crucial series that will see head coach Hilton Mareng's Chargers get an opportunity to put the final touches on their preparations for the cricket showpiece in June.
I think it's going to be a little bit different conditions having them over in South Africa. They've always only played us in their backyard, so we look forward to that. And I think, again, Zimbabwe and Ireland, they're young, upcoming sides, so I think it's good for them to play a lot of competitive cricket. We've been there a few years back, and I think it's good that we can give a little back and help them to also just get better and better.
The side will be without star player Dane van Niekerk for the next 6 weeks, and although it's a massive blow, Mareng is confident his squad can manage in the captain's absence.
It's tough on her at the moment. I think we as a team also, not having your leader here, it's not always easy. It's something that we learned and we have to work around it. I think as far we are as a squad and what we need to do, I think those ground rules have been put together.
The much-anticipated World Cup is just under 2 months away, and talented all-rounder Chloe Tyron believes that their performances of late have not gone unnoticed.
we put our name out there. I feel like we played our best cricket that time, and we've been playing really good cricket now. So I think we are forced to reckon with, and I know some teams see us as a threat as well. So it's a good feeling, and we want to be going into the World Cup feeling like that. So we're just looking forward to that.
The message is clear from the South African national women's cricket team. They're not going to the World Cup just to make up the numbers. In fact, they've targeted the knockout stages of the tournament and beyond, and will be drawing on inspiration from the 2014 T20 World Cup, where they reached the semi-finals. CS Du Plessis, CGTN, Potchefstroom.
And then a quick break. We'll be right back with more. Do stay with us.